Don't judge us for our naughty language and correct opinions. We won't judge you for your taste in podcasts. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
One October day of 2023, Jerrad Christian, a software engineer and Navy veteran, found himself staring at his phone, reading the chaotic series of news stories for just that day. Like so many of us before, he finally reached his breaking point. Enough was enough. He put down his phone and decided he was no longer willing to watch angrily from the sidelines, but instead vowed to do whatever he could to make a positive impact in the world, and especially to his local communities. Knowing very little about the inner workings of politics, he submitted his bid for a congressional campaign. While he would eventually lose his race, he left it feeling more educated, more passionate, and eager to try again. Fast forward to 2026. He's back on the campaign trail after winning his primary, running a grassroots campaign to unseat U.S. House of Representatives Troy Balderson, a Republican for Ohio's 12th district and the beneficiary of corporate PAC money and billionaire donors. According to Jerrad and his campaign, he's here to make change and give the power and the voice back to the people of the state. He doesn't pull any punches. He tells it like he sees it. And, as you'll hear today, he's got some hot takes to share.
Grab some Tums or your Pepto. This is going to be a hot one. And we're going there. Taboo topics are back on the table.
Welcome back, Going There fans, to another Season 3 episode. We have a spicy one for you today. We'll get into that in a second, but let's first introduce today's guest.
I'm Jerrad Christian, running for U.S. Congress for Ohio's 12th District.
Give us the short version of your backstory.
Grew up really poor, got out of poverty largely because of the military and a lot of work and a lot of luck. Spent some time as a bartender. Eventually, when I found out I was going to be a father, I took a job as a janitor. I did that for years, taught myself software engineering online, went to a tech school for job placement, became a software engineer, doing a lot better for myself, and now I see an opportunity to try to make the world a better place.
That's awesome. Where were you born and raised?
Gloucester, Ohio, down in Athens County. But it's like I moved around a lot. Poor people move a lot more than you would think because you can't really afford to stay in the same place. So I grew up mainly in Gloucester, went to Somerset and Perry County, moved over to Madison County, and just after the military, all over the place.
You brought up being in the military, and all of my roommates in college were military guys. And because of the blandness of the MREs, they got me hooked on hot sauce. So I imagine you're a big connoisseur of hot sauces.
I do very much like hot sauces. Yeah, sometimes I eat things just as a vehicle for hot sauce.
Well, then this is perfect, because what we're going to do today is we are going to do hot takes and hot tastes. We're going to talk through your backstory, talk about all the things you want. And while we're doing it, I'm going to throw some hot takes your way. And we're also going to try some hot sauces. But like you said, we need a vehicle. And what do you think would be the most Ohio or especially Cleveland food that I could use?
Pierogies.
Bingo! You got it! Okay, so let's bring them out.
They're actually pierogies?
Yeah. So
I'm glad it's not Skyline chili, because I genuinely hate Skyline chili.
And
that's Cincinnati, though.
They're like closing the one that's from Akron, like the one that's been there for 70-some years. They're closing it now.
Yeah.
No hate to Skyline, just don't really give it.
I hate Skyline. There's my first hot take.
Hot take! Well, I hope you brought your iron stomach. I cannot speak to what the Scoville rating of any of these hot sauces are, but the majority of them are very much Ohio-made, and these pierogies we even got from the Pierogi Palace in the West Side Market in Cleveland. So almost everything here is Ohio-themed. So I figured that kind of goes with our theme of the day.
They look delicious, and I like that they even took the time to make some caramelized onions.
Well, that is my amazing co-producer, Katie.
Smells amazing.
Now, here's how we're going to do this. I have 6 sauces, but I'm not going to tell you. We're not going in order from mild to hot.
Okay, great.
And we don't even 100% know what they are.
Okay. So if one is particularly delicious, we'll have to compare the color to what's in the bottle so we know what to buy.
I will know what it is.
Oh.
I have the cheat sheet.
Oh, great.
Since this is a democracy, I'm going to let you use your voice to choose and elect the sauce we're going to use. We also have emergency milk for obvious reasons. I cannot vouch for the milk being Ohio-based, but...
I thought you were going to say fresh.
This milk from my wife's teat. Sorry, we were just talking about Borat, and I love that. That's making the show. That's a hot take. Love Borat. The tit, amazing joke. Okay, so my co-producers of this episode think that if you drink the milk, it should be punishable by something. Be a man, don't drink the milk, but I'm not, I'm secure in my masculinity. I will be drinking milk at some point, I'm sure. If you do, though, I'll make you tell an embarrassing story.
Okay. I also am secure in my manhood and do not care if I have to drink milk. That's fine.
Amazing. Well, let's choose one first. Because it's a democracy, you use your voice, you elect the sauce we're starting with, and then we'll just keep going.
You know what? Let's go reverse numerical. Start with 6.
All right. Let's do number 6. Number 6 is Black Cap, the OG fermented out of Columbus, Ohio.
Already love it.
By the way, I really am going to be stretching my patience here because myself and my co-producer suffer from something called misophonia. Have you heard of this?
I also hate that. I struggle with the same thing.
So we're going to be listening to each other eat and recording it, and then I have to edit this. This is suicide.
That's very exciting for you. Just dipping her in there. All right, get enough on
Right
there.
off the bat, that has some nice kick.
It's got a good, like, pepper flavor. Not black pepper, but like the pepper it's made out of. Tasted it. It's pretty good.
I'm trying to see if it's going to stick around. It's lingering, but like it's definitely not Tabasco or Frank's Red or something. There's a little more kick to it than that, but I think that was a good starter.
I genuinely often can't tell if something's spicy.
Oh, so really this is all just torturing the host. Perfect.
Right. That one's pretty good.
You told us about where you're from originally. Tell us a little bit more about your family.
So I was raised by a single mother. We actually, I'll go all the way back to the beginning. When I was very young, my dad and mom got divorced when I was like 2 years old. But we lived in a 10-foot camper in a campground with no air conditioning and no heat, no stove. And my dad, for a while, was a park ranger. But
is it true that park rangers have more jurisdiction than the average police officer?
I have absolutely no idea.
I was taught, probably by a park ranger who was just trying to scare me, that they have more jurisdiction because police don't have any jurisdiction in the parks.
Well, that's true, but park rangers don't have any jurisdiction outside the park. Unless it's like an active pursuit. So if they follow you out of the park with their lights on.
Right.
But
which happens all the time.
Every day. Thousands of times a day. So lived there for a few years. After that, moved back to Gloucester, where like the majority of my mom's family is from. Lived there. Sometimes we had a house. Sometimes we stayed on relatives' couches, which I guess is technically considered homeless now. But back then, that was like if you were living in your car or in a tent. So never did that.
Well, at least recently you posted that you had met Amy Acton, Dr. Acton, who was also on this show earlier this season. Mm-hmm. Did you guys bond over that? Because she definitely had like the homelessness and like growing up very poor and all of that. Yeah. Did you guys talk about that at all? Just curious.
Not really.
Okay.
We just talk about current things mostly. I've run into her a bunch of times at this point. But we don't really talk about that. It doesn't come up a lot. It's, I think that when you grow up that way, it's not really something that's in the forefront of your mind when you're just walking around having conversations.
Sure.
It's just,
I just know me. I love trauma bonding. There's my hot take. Like you and I are going to trauma bond later in this episode. But, if you've been through a certain experience, as soon as the other person mentions it, it's like they see this side of you that most other people don't understand. And I'm sure if you guys ever got into that conversation, it would be exactly that.
Most of our conversations are very much in the public.
Sure.
So, it doesn't really come up.
Yeah.
If we ever sit down and just have a chat, maybe.
Well, I think invite her over, have some hot sauce, eat some pierogies. You never know what might come up.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, what about education?
I have a high school diploma. I took some college after I got out of the military, but I used my GI Bill, but it ran out after 3 years, and I didn't have a degree. So I didn't want to go into debt. Never finished a college degree. Just self-taught pretty much everything.
As somebody who's taught at the college level, I don't have a master's, which most people expect you to, but I think a lot of institutions rightfully look at experience and like field experience as far more valuable than just, especially at an education where you're in an ivory tower kind of a thing.
Sure.
So you had all kinds of experience. You were a Navy meteorologist, which is, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
Which is like really freaking cool.
Yeah. My first couple of years, I was a flight deck fueler on an aircraft carrier during Operation Iraqi Freedom. We were the primary bombers when Iraq first started.
Iraq Part two.
Part two, yeah.
Yeah. You're too young to be part of part one.
two.
Yeah, part two.
Yeah. So when I first signed up, the military told me that, the recruiters told me that I would get to go out into the fleet and experience different jobs and make sure that meteorology and oceanography is the one that I wanted to do. So I would go out and do all of these other jobs and choose amongst them if I didn't want to go on to be a meteorologist. What that really means is you get put in the shit job that nobody signs up for. And that's how I ended up as a flight deck fueler on an aircraft carrier for 2 years. It was really interesting. It's incredibly dangerous. And, I honestly, it was rough. It was rough. But I am glad it happened. I'm glad I did it. Later on, became a meteorologist and oceanographer, got taken off of a ship and shore-based in Naples, Italy. Lived there for 3 years. Awful.
Oh, I bet that was terrible.
Food was terrible.
Wine was
the
bad.
mountains,
The women are so ugly.
Yeah, God.
We're being facetious.
Yes.
I don't look it. I'm a Dago. My family's from a town very close to Naples, so
Nice.
I love that area.
Yeah, Naples, I was all over the place in Italy, obviously, all over the place in Europe, and Naples was one of my favorite places. If you go to Italy and you don't eat pizza in Naples, you have wasted your entire trip, and I'm sad you went.
And your entire life.
Yeah, basically.
Pointless.
Yeah, agreed.
And this is more of just me, my inner Larry David likes to complain about things. Like meteorology, I know it's not an exact science in the way that we can never 100% predict weather, but it seems to me like it's getting worse in recent years. Is it climate change? What's happening? It's like today it's going to rain and it's beautiful. It's like tomorrow it's going to be sunny and beautiful and we get snow. I don't seem to understand what's going on. Are they just phoning it in?
In the military, I had one of the highest ratings for accuracy in the entire military. Realistically, a lot of meteorology it's largely the Earth's weather is driven by differential heating of the Earth's surface. So if it's hot over here and cold over here, that's going to cause weather patterns to move from high pressure to low pressure regions. What's happening right now is the government's cutting funds to NOAA, which is the government's meteorology and oceanography.
Yeah. Because science is silly, right?
Sure, yeah. What do we use that for?
Yeah, no.
But I think that's probably the largest reason is even private meteorologists use NOAA data to predict weather.
Right.
And the less access people have, the worse off our predictions are going to be.
So the government's to blame for my annoyance with the weather app.
The government's to blame for a great many annoyances. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about hot and cold. Why don't we pick another sauce?
Try not to be boring. Let's just mix it up randomly. Let's do number 3.
All right.
I see a pepper chunk in that one.
Number 3. Oh, I love this because this is the Cleveland one. This is Pope's Burning River. We have a Burning River beer. And for those of you who don't know much about Cleveland, our river has caught on fire multiple times.
We're trying to get back to that time.
This one looks hot.
These pierogies, highlight of my day. Wonderful, wonderful job.
Shout out to co-producer of the year. Okay, that is delicious, but it's not very hot.
Are you soaking it in there? Because that's really getting it on there.
I really am.
Got a little bit of sour hit to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fermented as well? Or does
These
it
are
not?
questions that are above my pay grade.
That's fair.
And since the government cut the budget to NOAA, we can't even research it. So why the House of Representatives? There's so many things you could have run through for locally in the state. Obviously, that's a huge and very impactful role. But specifically, why was that important to you?
The honest answer is, when I woke up the morning of October 3rd, 2023, and read my phone, read the news, and realized that I was tired of being pissed off and not taking action, I knew nothing about running for office. Nothing. So I looked at the available options. I saw that people were already running in the districts that I could run in, except for Ohio's 12th District, U.S. Congress. So that's where I planted my flag. I was tired of being pissed off and doing nothing. I didn't know how to run for office. I've never held an office. I've never run for an office. And I was like...
That's who makes the best leaders, though. Because if you know the game, you probably shouldn't be playing the game anymore.
Yeah. So I said, fuck it, and ran for U.S. Congress. That's the whole story.
Fuck it and ran for U.S. Congress. That should be your campaign slogan.
Fuck it, run for
Actually,
Congress.
you have a great campaign slogan if you want to hold your mug up. What does it say?
I don't give a fuck about billionaires.
Amen. Let me tell you, I've tried to have logical conversations with people because there are still people who are like, no, you can be a good person and be a billionaire. I said, you can't. Like logically, depending on how you define morality, it's not well, I still get my piece of the pie and you still get yours. It's no, you don't get any of the pie or you get this sliver. And billionaires are the downfall of civilization. And we've, like, whatever numbers associated with it doesn't matter. This has happened in the most lavish society since the beginning of time. And they all meet their doom because of that.
Yeah. Late stage capitalism. The people who own everything and decide you can own nothing. It's very interesting to me when you compare things like, you compare types of government, communism and capitalism and things like that. It ultimately becomes communism for the top 1%. They own everything. They decide everything. And you just get whatever piece of the pie they chuck down at you.
Yeah, I feel like this has been said by many people, which is, I think John Oliver especially said it. He goes, no, they don't want you to have socialism because billionaires have socialism. Mm-hmm. The rest of us have to deal with capitalism.
That's right. And we socialize the losses and we privatize the profits, period.
When, for example, the airline companies ask for bailout, which is our money, our tax dollars, and we give it to them, and they still make mass layoffs, and somehow in that year made record profits. And that to me, like, why more people aren't as pissed off as you and I are, I don't understand. I cannot wrap my head around it.
I would apply that same logic to probably one of the longest existing enemies of the environment and the existence of humans, big oil.
Yeah.
We subsidize them in the trillions of dollars throughout my lifetime, trillions and trillions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And they make more trillions in profit than we even subsidize them. And we might get lower gas prices at the pump to some tiny, minuscule degree. But a reasonable person would look at that and at least say that's not free market. So you cannot be on the side of free market and subsidizing big oil.
And free market, because I've had conservative friends try to make the argument that, well, aren't you for the free market? And I'm like, yeah, but free market has never meant without any, no holds barred, without any kind of parameters, because we have them in place for monopolies and things like that.
Yeah.
But when it's brilliant in an evil way when you get the poorest people and the least educated to fight for you against their own interests. It's like, wow, you really did something crazy, horrible, but it's impressive that you were able to pull that off.
It's interesting to me that the evidence has been out there from the oil companies themselves about climate change for, 50 years or more now?
Yeah.
And yet somehow there are people denying that climate change is real.
Even the most conservative scientists have said, no, it's very much real.
Yeah. And we need to do something about it.
Well, as Ron DeSantis said not that long ago, no, we can't do anything to stop it. We just need to come up with ways to deal with it after it gets us.
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yes. Let's let it kill most of our kids and then do something.
Billionaires are always short-sighted because which who knows, maybe they'll discover some kind of secret to the fountain of youth. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole upload generation is in front of us, whether or not that, it means anything. But they don't see past their own lifetimes. And it's like you've screwed your kids and your grandkids and everybody else, and they don't care.
The interesting thing, I think, is that most people feel like they're immune at that level. I can still buy water, even if there's very little water. I can still buy a safe place to live, even if there are few to no places that are safe to live. And that's what they think their money is going to rescue them from, is the consequences that the rest of us are going to have to live with.
Yeah. When anarchy happens and civilization is toppled, your currency no longer has any value.
Sure. And we're all going to come take your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how many other movies and stories and parables need to be told about that.
Yeah.
Or just historical fact. But again, they're so short-sighted. This is not a hot take. This is such an easy one. But should there be term limits?
It actually is a little more complicated than a lot of people say on their face, right? I do believe generally in term limits. But the issue becomes is that sometimes because our government is slow and shitty and inefficient, as we all know, sorry. I guess that was a hot take.
That was the most lukewarm take ever, because no matter what side you fall on, I think everybody agrees on that one issue.
That's true. Yeah. It takes years for good legislation to get out of a committee and to be put in front of congressmen and senators and the president in a way that we can vote to make that happen. And if we were able to fix our systems so that this legislation could move more quickly, then term limits would be a much more viable option, because I would hate to see something like, Medicare for all, universal health care, make it most of the way through the system, then the people who are really championing that get tossed to the side.
You still don't think there should be a hard line cap? For example, Mitch McConnell or the animated corpse of Mitch McConnell pulling a weekend at Bernie's is out there somewhere not doing his duties, which, here's a hot take. Is he alive?
Yeah, I think he's probably alive.
Yeah. Piss and vinegar go a long way.
In fact, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I am not anti-term limit. I'm not anti-term limit.
No.
I just think that there's more nuance in there than people would like to pretend.
Sure.
But life is full of nuance, and sometimes you just got to slap a term limit on there.
That's right. And look, it doesn't have to be like 2 terms and you're out.
Right.
But it should not be somebody who's been in the same seat for 50 years. That's ridiculous.
I agree.
Because, the longer you stay in a seat, the longer the potential is for you to become out of touch with your constituents and their needs, right?
Yeah.
You have 50 years. You're not even in the same generation. You're 2 generations later.
Yeah.
And somebody like Mitch McConnell, who's like, I'm doing this for the people of Kentucky. He's not, he has no idea what people need. And you have somebody like Bernie Sanders who goes down there, talks to the people, and they're like, oh, what you're saying is making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But people get comfortable, and those people feel, like you said, untouchable.
Yeah.
And they have been insulated for decades.
Especially in a state like Ohio, where gerrymandering is so bad.
Yeah.
It's really comical to me to look at the Republican slate right now. And it's literally all people who have been in office for years. They're like, elect me just one more time and I'll fix it. I swear.
Yeah.
I swear this time will be different.
Yeah.
Just take me back.
Yeah. How many Expendable movies can there be? This is like Expendable 17. They don't even have Stallone anymore. It's like they have Steven Seagal and, the ghost of Charles Bronson and all of these Republicans. It's wild. There's my hot take. So you ran in 2024. What happened?
As I said earlier, I had no idea what I was doing. I woke up that morning, and that day I figured out whatever paperwork I had to fill out. I started looking for a fundraiser, and I started showing up to county meetings with the Democrats. And I had never met any of them before. I had never been to any of their meetings before. I moved to Delaware County during COVID, so really isolated, obviously. And I just started finding people that wanted to help. We, in the end, outraised almost every other challenger in the state. I'm not a wealthy man, so I didn't give my campaign any money. But we did a lot of work. And in a year where every other district went to the right largely, ours went slightly to the left. So I was really proud of that. It was a lot of work, especially not knowing what we were doing. There was a lot of you just flying by the seat of my pants. But every decision I've ever made in my life that really led to any grand change, I just made in an instant and did it. So kind of the same here.
Mr. Smith goes to Washington. That's very much what it is. What's your hot take on your opponent, Rep. Balderson?
I hear that at one point in he was at the state level in the House and the Senate. I hear that for those terms, he was a decent guy. He showed up, he listened to people. But once he hit that federal level, he stopped giving a shit about people in any meaningful way. I think that he is an empty suit yes man. I think that he is for sale to the highest bidder. He is a vote along party lines, even if it hurts you kind of guy. And I'm not sure that's a hot take because it just is true.
And it's going to be embarrassing when hopefully you spank him at the polls because, how much have you raised so far in your campaign this year or over the last couple of years?
I do not know. The first time around, we raised $350,000, which is it's over 10 times what the average first-time candidate raises.
Sure. He's raised several million.
Oh, he's at like $2 million, yeah.
And less than 6% of that, I believe, came from actual Ohioans. It's all PAC money and
all
corporate money.
Yep. He's on the energy committee, which is largely responsible for what's supposed to be taking care of our energy needs in the U.S. and Ohio. And I don't know if you've noticed, but my power bill went up a lot, a staggering amount.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get money in to build some more infrastructure so that we can put in more data centers, which is the reason right now that our power bills are skyrocketing.
First of all, fuck data centers, but I thought they were supposed to help us, right? Like we were going to all reap the benefits.
Well, they're going to help someone, but it's not going to be
It's not going to be me.
Yeah. I mean, they can maybe use some of it to store more Facebook videos that you can doom scroll through. But largely, my biggest concern about the data centers and why we might need so many is that we're aligning our government with Palantir, who's going to use their AI systems to start building files on all of us.
Yeah.
It's going to start tracking us, and we have the flock cameras popping up. They're going to know where you are at all times, where you are, what you did, where you went, who you're hanging out with. I mean, they're so advanced they can tell if someone's cheating on their wife and who with. That is deeply concerning to me. And the construction of the data centers on top of, the water and the electrical issues, they're damaging people's homes by just building the foundations of these things. They're cracking people's foundations and they're falling in. It's insane the amount of shit that we're going through right now that people don't even largely know about, and people hate them already.
It's unfortunate because a lot of times it takes for that thing to impact them, for them to wake up.
Sure.
But I think the data centers thing it's so close to home. You can't help but experience it in the negative way. But then will it be too late, right?
Oh, it's already getting to too late.
Yeah.
We've already elected the people that are pushing this shit on us and giving those data centers these massive tax breaks, which are going to lead to property tax increases, which is also a huge problem in Ohio right now.
Yeah, which is what everyone's trying to run on is we're going to lower taxes, property taxes.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'm going to spin my wheels and get so angry. So instead, let's eat something hot. What number would you like to do?
1.
Number 1, C-Bus. This is medium. This is going to be easy. Out of Columbus. But it looks delicious.
This tastes like Columbus.
Tastes like a winning football team.
Yeah, there you go. It's not what I was imagining, but that's a better answer.
For a medium, that has some kick. You're like, no. Which one's been the hottest to you so far?
Probably this one.
The one they just looked at me like, does it taste like anything? Okay.
The flavor's good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Tastes
And also,
nothing like the streets of Columbus, I imagine.
No. My memories of Columbus were mostly college going down there to visit, and it tastes nothing like a Mickey 40 ounce, so I don't know.
Or a Four Loko.
Or Four Loko, Jesus. Yeah, no, I was smart to stay. For all the dumb things I did, I stayed away from Four Loko. And it's amazing I did because I love alcohol and I love caffeine.
I'm now more of a good stout or porter kind of guy. I have some bourbon at home, but I wouldn't drink a Four Loko anymore.
I would hope not.
I do drink an unimaginable amount of caffeine, though.
I bet.
Yeah.
You have to, right? You have a family.
Yeah, it's what I've replaced
you're
my blood
working
with.
full time. Right, exactly. Intravenously, you just pump it in. The way I look at it is caffeine is of all the vices, that's one of the least terrible. It's not healthy for you, but it's not I'm
going to keep pretending it is
I
That
think
way
you
I
should.
feel okay about it.
Hey, you know what? We could be like the rest of the country, show up to the doctor, and they'd be like, that's unhealthy. Be like, nuh-uh, because I heard that Alex Jones said that it's actually good for you.
Well, unfortunately, now it would be the Department of Health that said it was healthy for me. So even more than Alex Jones, it's RFK Jr.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's a brilliant scientist.
I assumed that when I heard he cut the head off of a whale with a chainsaw.
What the fuck?
Are you not aware of this?
Oh, no, I mean,
Okay.
but these stories, like the New York Times recently did a poll. It's like, what is the quintessential film that represents current America and across the board? It's Idiocracy.
Oh, it's a documentary, and you didn't even know when you watched it.
Yeah. When you watch it, it was so outlandish and so hilarious. Don't get me wrong. I could still watch it and have fun with it.
Sure.
Because I will take Terry Crews over Trump any day of the
Oh,
week.
my God. Terry Crews would make a great president.
He really would. At this point, if Donald Trump is allowed to be president, anybody is qualified.
You know what? Actually, one of the things that I have said many times throughout my runs, my couple of runs, I made this sound like I've run 100 times, my couple of runs for Congress, is that people should run for office, right? It's meant to be filled with people who are us, who represent us. And if you ever feel as an individual unqualified to run for office, just take a look at who's in there and you'll change your mind real quick. So there is a lot of lack of just basic common sense and basic common decency. We are not sending our best and brightest into these seats.
No. Well, and I love how you explain it too, because it being a seat that people take turns with, like that's what Trump doesn't understand. And that's what some of the people at the federal level who've been insulated for too long don't understand is you're in a servant leadership role.
Yes.
You're not our boss. Like Trump thinks he can just fire everybody. It's like you can fire the people in your immediate vicinity because you hired them in your cabinet, but you work for us, not the other way around. And that seems to be completely lost on them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's a hot take. Parties should not exist.
Amen.
Yeah. It's been, it's driven tribalism between people who would otherwise be good neighbors. You know, I remember some of the history that I read in the Civil War back in high school was like, brothers were fighting brothers in the States. And that is not an America that I want to see brought back.
No.
I don't know if there's been anything that's been more divisive than political parties in the United States. You can't even look at a person. And, you know, when I walk around and I'm giving people literature, just having a conversation, and when the first question out of their mouth is, what party are you? I get a little sad. Shouldn't it more matter what I say, what I want to do, what's on that pamphlet that you read? And, you know, sometimes when you say, you know, running as a Democrat, they're like, oh, thank goodness. And sometimes they just hand you your pamphlet back and they, run their mouth under their breath.
And it's not their fault. That's the system they've inherited.
Largely not their fault.
Right.
I don't want to take away personal responsibility.
Well, if somebody came to me and said, I'm a Republican, me 10 years ago, yeah, okay. Me now, well, what kind of Republican?
Yeah.
If you're MAGA, no, there's no way in hell I would ever support you because that's not even a political party. That's a cult.
I can get on that. I can get on board with that.
I'm not putting those words in your mouth.
Yeah. I think that,
I'm saying that.
Yeah. I think that we live in a world that is driven largely by algorithms at this point.
Oh, God, yeah.
And to your point that it's not their fault, like if you don't agree with something online, that you don't agree with something that you've looked at already, you're probably never going to see it, which means you're never going to be convinced that maybe your ideas and your thoughts on a subject are not correct.
Right.
You know, one of my favorite things in the world is being wrong because then I get to be right. Right? I read about it, I figure something out, and then I become a better person from having learned from new information.
Do you know why you do that other than just maybe being a decent human? It's because you went into science in the military, and that's how science is approached.
Yeah.
Scientists want to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
When they publish something, it's not so you can idolize them and tell them how amazing they are. They want somebody to run tests and either validate it or disprove them. But when they get disproven, it's like the magic comes back and they get to try it again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's one of the reasons I love science. It changes with new knowledge.
How many whales did you chop off the head of with a chainsaw?
No, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. Hot take. So tell us about the campaign trail. What's that look like for you?
The best descriptor I have is busy. I still work full time because, as I mentioned earlier, not a wealthy man. I work a regular job like anybody else, so my weekends and my evenings are filled with driving, filled with talking to strangers.
Coming on random podcasts.
At
least you got fed on this one,
At least
right?
I got to sit down.
Yeah.
I often wear Chucks. So somebody commented on one of my posts the other day, how do you walk around in Chucks all day? And I said, I'm tough.
Old school.
Yeah. But, hey, man, it's incredibly busy. And I think that there are times when it's really difficult, depending on what you just did or how long you spent doing it, especially in this heat.
Yeah.
But a lot of it gives me a great deal of hope. I love going out and talking to people. I love meeting people. And I love having a reasonable, rational conversation with anyone. I'm not addicted to my political party. I just want to see the world be a better place. So when I get to talk to someone who has changed their mind, mm-hmm. or who can change their mind, or gives me a good reason to change mine, that gets really exciting for me.
That gives me so much hope when it actually happens.
Sure.
It doesn't happen often enough. But I'm also not out there talking to all the people.
Yeah.
In fact, because people will be like, what's your podcast about? And I try to use minimum words and don't go too deep into it, because the second they think, like tribalism.
Yeah.
And I'm just as bad at it too, because like I said, I have we all have our own prejudice, but I'm at this point where I thought for so long you could get through to some people and you just can't. But there are still so many of those fence sitters out there, or people with an open mind and open heart who just have bad information, who fall victim to the algorithm and all those things. They exist, and I love that you talk to them. What are people talking about? What are the biggest pain points right now?
Everybody's terrified of data centers. That's a huge one. And the flock cameras, also terrifying. No one on any side of any fence wants to live in a surveillance state. But that's where we're headed with the current oligarchy that we're building above us.
Is anybody publicly at the political level advocating for the flock cameras? Because usually when stuff like that happens, it's all being done back doors. But to the public, they're saying, I don't think we're going to install those. I don't think that's going to happen.
Not that I'm seeing. There's nobody, especially because a lot of these things happen at the local level. So, when we elect these township trustees or these, these mayors or whoever, that's landing at their doorstep. And those are the decisions that they're making locally, but largely without public input. They just happen.
Right.
They just start springing up everywhere. And that's genuinely concerning to me. If we're going to move in any way, shape, or form toward being China, the surveillance state part is not what we should attribute or work toward, right? And the problem is that's exactly what we're doing. When we hear people talk about politics and we say that we want to tax the wealthy at a fair rate, and people are like, "Well, you're a communist. You're China. You're trying to be China." But the reality is that China is a surveillance state, right? The problem is less about whether they have health care or not, but whether or not they can get online and have free access to the internet, which is becoming a problem here and in Europe. And whether or not we can drive down the street and not have the federal government or the state or local government know exactly where you are at all times. I do not support that in any way.
No. I can't imagine, again, any political figure would come out and say, I think that's a good thing. But the Overton window, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen crazy take over. So who knows what people are capable of jumping on board with.
That's true.
As of right now, in theory, I think 99% of Americans would be on the exact same page. No, I don't want that whatsoever.
I agree. But, back when 9/11 happened, I was in high school at the time, and I joined the military very shortly after. And we had the Patriot Act spring up. And there were a lot of people who were very anti-Patriot Act. But they passed it anyway. They started spying on American citizens, taking our data without warrants. And I remember people back then saying, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be worried about it. But that's not even the point, right? Yeah. I don't want someone else knowing where I am at all times. I want to have privacy. I'm a human being. I don't want you to know what I'm doing when I'm sitting in my home watching TV.
Well, right. And they did it. Of course, the timing was under the guise of, well, we're trying to stop terrorism. So if you get people scared enough, I minored in criminal justice, and I often talked about the teeter-totter between freedom and safety, right?
Yeah.
You give up some freedoms to be a little bit safer, right? Mm. But that's not making anyone safer. And again, when you don't believe history, you don't get to learn from it. And the Patriot Act was an exact reason that, like, for a while, we all agreed that was shit. Yeah. Should have never been passed, but the people had no say because it was like a state of emergency because of, terrorism cells and shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All the terrorists all over the place.
Yes. Just like the weapons of mass destruction, they were everywhere. Mm-hmm. Millions of them.
Right there in Iraq.
Right there in Iraq. Well, you were there.
Mm.
How many did you find?
Personally, none.
Oh, okay. Did you use any of them to chop off the head of a whale?
Did you just ask me if I nuked a whale?
Well, like, kill enough whales with a chainsaw, that could be considered a weapon of mass destruction.
That's true.
So, science. Okay. Hot take. What do Democrats need to start doing a better job of?
Oh, gosh. How can I word this?
Mild take.
No, it's going to be a hot. You have a mild take?
No, I was just like, the more you think about how to word it, I thought you were going to dance around.
No, I don't dance around shit. I just have to think about how to put the words into a sentence. I'm pulling a Trump over here. I can't finish a thought.
Well, you just say Kavefi or whatever.
I have the best ideas.
Right?
Okay. They need to stop being such cowards and stop letting this small faction, some of the worst humans in our entire society, tell other people who we are. That's the answer. Stop being a coward, stand up, and squash all the bullshit. In a position where they're in the minority now, in the House and in the Senate, there isn't a lot they can do. They can make things drag on slower, which is what we need them to do because some of the shit they're trying to get through is insane. But I think that this stretches far beyond just the people in office. It's the people out in the streets. It's all the good people in this country. All of them. Whether they risk losing friendships, whether they risk losing relationships, you cannot guess that those things are going to happen. Instead, you have to go against the loudest voices and become the loudest voice if you want to actually be an effective, decent human being. And coming from a person who was largely apolitical after the military because I just thought the world was going to work. I got out, I was like, well, I need a job. And I was just fighting for survival. There was, when I was in college using the GI Bill, I didn't have enough money to even turn the heat on in my apartment. I just got a space heater and a blanket. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with a lot of people is they're just working paycheck to paycheck, right? They're not doing anything beyond what they have to do to survive because a lot of them can't.
Right.
And they need advocates at every level, their neighbors, their friends, their pastors, their politicians, to stop being such weaklings and do something significant with their lives. Stand up for your neighbor. Stand up for your friend. Stand up for your brothers.
Whether or not they voted for you.
Whether or not they voted for you. Like, I give a shit. If I get into this office, when I get into this office, if a Republican comes up to me and they say, hey, man, I need food. I need water infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, I care what party you are. That's a stupid measure.
Yep. Why is this campaign different?
Than what?
Than your previous one.
Oh, than my previous one.
The obvious answer is there's experience in understanding the system a little bit better now.
That is definitely the case. I know a lot more. I'm not going to make the same mistakes I made last time. So we spent too much on some things, not enough on other things. And, I have a lot better grasp on that. But also the first time around, I was a little bit more soft-spoken about what I think. And I realized that what's the worst thing that can happen? Somebody's not going to vote for me? Yeah. Why wouldn't I just be honest about the things I think? Why wouldn't I just be loud about it?
Right.
It's time that we have people in who stop being such cowards. And I am not running for office because I'm a coward, and I'm not running for office to be a coward.
That's a good transition into being a courageous, brave soul and trying another random hot sauce.
Let's do 4. Looks thick.
4 is the Cleveland Ketchup Company Ghost Pepper.
I was going to say it looks like barbecue sauce.
I know, and it kind of has a little bit of that sweet
it does.
Scent,
mm-hmm.
But it says ghost pepper, which is like one of the hottest peppers. So
I'm going to be honest, it smells like ghost pepper with sugar in it.
It's the ghost of Mitch McConnell.
Well, the only one we know for sure is dead is Lindsey Graham.
What's your hot take on Lindsey Graham?
You know what, man? The nicest thing I can say about that guy is he wanted to protect Ukraine from Russia. Outside of that, not a great guy.
No. The memes have been amazing. But outside of that, yes, credit where credit's due, right? Like even when bad people do good things, like you should notice it. And thank God, because, at the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war, everybody was, it was the thoughts and prayers, and we're all there.
Mm-hmm.
And quickly, that was one of those Overton window switcheroos where suddenly Trump is like, I don't know, Russia's pretty good. I actually think Ukraine's the bad guy. The way J.D. Vance talked to Zelensky, the whole thing was just like, I never thought we'd be here. And here we are.
Yeah. And you know what? In their defense, Zelensky didn't wear a suit.
I love when they asked that to J.D. Vance when he showed up to speak somewhere. Hey, how come you're not wearing a suit?
Because I'm a hypocritical piece of shit.
Yeah. Listen, I am like anti-alpha male masculinity and all of that shit. But if you are somebody who's all about alpha male, tough dude masculinity, J.D. Vance is the human equivalent of a flaccid penis at best.
Man, every time I think of a penis in politics, it's Miller. Stephen
Miller, yeah. No, Stephen Miller is a micro penis that is just angry at life.
An over-circumcised micro penis.
Yes, agreed. But you didn't think we'd be talking about this today.
I know Tim's over there like, womp womp.
Is your campaign manager going to be sending me emails? Hey, listen, about the over-circumcised penis comments, can we circumcise that part of the episode?
Snip it right out.
Yeah. The answer is fuck no. Okay, I'm kidding. Half kidding.
Oh, by the way, we didn't discuss that one.
Oh, I thought we did.
Well, we discussed the smell.
That's the hottest one so far.
Was it?
Am I being punked?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
So
taste mine.
No. Your thoughts? I swear, I poured them both together. Your thoughts?
Sweet. I mean, it was like a mildly spicy barbecue sauce.
I think that's the hottest one so far, unless I'm getting like a cumulative heat. But I don't think I am.
I almost immediately forgot we had already eaten hot sauces.
Jesus Christ. You know he's a veteran. What was your favorite MRE?
Didn't eat a lot of MREs in the Navy. We had cooks on the ship, but I will tell you a core memory of mine from part of the time you're working on a ship, you have to work in the kitchen. Depends on your role. Yeah, so like you just do all the grunt work for several weeks.
Peeling potatoes, the old cliche, the Army.
Yeah. But I remember unloading the food from the resupply ships and putting it into the freezers, and there were literally stamps rejected from such and such prison institute on the boxes. So like they were just sending us the stuff the prisons didn't want. So I'm not going to say that ship food was good, but it was not an MRE.
Yeah, in some ways, MREs are probably slightly better. I think like NASA astronauts and stuff eat similar things sometimes.
Largely. Makes them way less if you take the water out.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite topic. It's a thread through so much of this show from the beginning is religious deconstruction. And we don't have to go too deep into it, but I have my own question. Oh, getting the sniff?
Yeah.
It's hitting you?
Well, it's not hot, but it does make my nose run a little bit.
Okay. So you don't feel heat, but you feel the effects of the heat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That somehow is a superpower. I haven't figured out yet. Like if anyone, like maybe if there's terrorists who interrogate people with heat, like maybe you're the guy we send in to save.
To get tortured?
Yes. No, yeah. Yeah. No,
as long as the food's delicious, I'm in.
Not a good. They're like, this was RFK approved.
Oh, man.
It's so good. You can eat this all day.
That makes me think that he supplied them with apples with razor blades and then like the old Halloween urban legends.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So religious deconstruction.
Yeah. Well, no. Because everything we're talking about is part of religious deconstruction. What's your short form story there?
So my family, my extended family, was very close to us when I was growing up. And a lot of them, they didn't have the word back then, but a lot of them were Christian nationalists and are to this day.
Yeah.
And I was caught up in that. I've been to church camp probably 4 or 5 times in my life, went through the whole gamut of things. And speaking of like the church camp, and I don't know, do you want me to describe Christian nationalism as my experience in it, or what are you going for?
Absolutely.
Here? Sure.
Whatever you want to share, because, I grew up evangelical, and I never quite fit in, but but I still the shame and the guilt and all these things live with you forever. They're never going to they get quieter and quieter, but they never fully go away. And I mean, politics and religion are now blending into one thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the tribalism comes in. But yeah, we're seeing Christian nationalism, which is hilarious in the sense that if you understand the Bible, here's my hot take. The people who understand the Bible the least are modern Christian nationalists.
That's true.
Jesus was fighting against Christian nationalism, very much so. The people he had the biggest problems with were leaders in the church and leaders in the state.
Yeah.
And yet, anyway.
So, funny enough, I'm going to interrupt my own story and tell you that just, a couple weeks ago, I had a brief conversation with one of my Christian nationalist relatives, and he told me that Jesus flipped the tables because there were people in a place they didn't belong. We were discussing immigration, and he was saying that the immigrants were essentially the taxmen in the church. And I was like, man, I think you might have missed the entire point of all of that and the entire point of the Bible.
And on top of it, I mean, the thing that makes it scary and very sad and why these things are all tied together is because he didn't come to that conclusion on his own.
Sure.
Somebody at a pulpit told him that.
Yeah. So in church camp, I remember distinctly every time learning that one day the world was going to end and there was going to be a literal war between the servants of God and the servants of hell, and that we were called to be soldiers and we were going to have to kill our fellow man who followed the ways of the devil, that we were all going to be called to be soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a big theme that runs through Christian nationalism in general, is that you are a soldier for God. When the reality of the situation is that you are not called to be a soldier, you are called to be a servant. You are called to be a person who loves your neighbors, who does good things for people, who welcomes the immigrant, who feeds the hungry, clothes the naked. But that is not what we were taught. That is not how I was raised by my extended family. I remember one of the first cracks in the wall that happened to me. I was probably 15. I was riding with someone downtown in Springfield, Ohio, where some of my family lives.
Which has been politicized.
In fact, yeah.
Still.
So we pull up next to this car, and the person driving has my window down and yells to the person in the car next to mine a homophobic slur. And I was like, what's happening right now? Why is he yelling this at them? And that person pulled up a little bit. And the person I'm riding with pulled up a little bit and yelled it again. And the person in the car next to us yells, "Have you ever had this slur kick your ass, honey?" And I was so confounded. I had no clue what was going on. Why was he yelling this at this random person in the car?
Yeah.
And the light turned green. That person drove off. And I asked, what the hell just happened? And he said, they had a rainbow sticker on the back of their car. Don't you know what that means? And I was like, no. And he told me that meant they were gay.
How old were you?
Like 15.
You didn't know that at 15?
I didn't, no. I'm from middle of nowhere Appalachia, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I just, that was a really eye-opening moment for me when I saw someone intentionally try to cause an innocent person just living their lives harm for no reason whatsoever. That was one of the first cracks. And then from then, it just started growing, and I started seeing the hypocrisy of the people that were not living the words that they put in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And the big change for me came during the military when I joined up and I worked, as a flight deck fueler. I met so many people that were raised different than me, that thought different than me, looked different than me. And I continued down that journey where I just realized that the world was not the bubble in which I grew up. And there was a better option. There are people out there who can help and don't. There are people who need help and can't get it. And there's a whole world out there that some people just seem to ignore wholly because it doesn't fit their predetermined notions of what the world looks like.
And it's heartbreaking because you have these people who intentionally or unintentionally have you traumatized because they take you into their religion, right? But then when the MAGA movement happened, I said, at least before I thought it was because you at least had your heart in for a good cause.
Yeah.
And now that I've seen that people are completely turning their back on everything that you said you stood for, it's like it was done in vain. And you guys can preach it at the top of your lungs. I have a boundary. I no longer let anybody preach to me for even a second about anything. Before I would like humor people, right? I'm like, nope. You're full of shit. Because the best Christians, the best spiritual people never tell you that is their religion or that's the book they read. You never need to know. You see it in their actions. They're a moral person. I don't give a shit what God they pray to or if they don't believe in a God at all. Doesn't matter. But the reason that this new Christian nationalist MAGA movement, the alt-right, and I'm not saying every single person who voted MAGA, anything
Obviously,
like that.
yeah.
Like I always try not to paint with a broad brush, but it's cult-like in a sense for one reason above all else is that like church, like religion, you don't question things, you don't analyze things, you don't use critical thinking because just like in church, if you do that, and you start to question God or question Jesus, and people are afraid to pull at that thread. You let the cracks into the wall, and then all of a sudden it came apart. And you pulled all the threads, as did I, because I'm a curious person. They are deathly afraid. So they don't question it. And then you try to reason with people and have these arguments, and we are at a point in society where there are just too many, the numbers are too high of people who you cannot get through to. Neil deGrasse Tyson has the famous quote, "You can't use reason to convince anyone out of an argument that they didn't use reason to get into."
Yeah.
Which is why I hate the things like Jubilee, because like it used to be about civil discourse. It's no longer that. We'll get to a point where their logic reaches its end, and then it's just pure emotion. And it was never logic in the first place, but they knew some things to say and they could dress it up as logic. And that's where we're at in politics.
Yeah. And then we get the most anti-science human being in the world in charge of our health system, RFK Jr., because nobody's willing to pull at those threads. It is a science mindset. It's a rational, reasonable mindset. And it is tough. It's tough to get through to some folks. I agree with that. But I mean, here's a hot take. I don't mind sitting down on my porch and talking to the religious folks who knock on my door.
Because?
I mean,
how does the conversation usually go? How's it end?
Generally pretty good. I'm really good at making people question the things that they think.
That's awesome.
So if they come at me with some things that I think are absolutely wild, we talk about it. And as long as they're willing to listen, I'm willing to talk to them. It's those things oftentimes are seen as a one-sided talking at you situation, but I don't use it like that. And I want them to keep their faith. I want them to feel good about the world. I want them to be, that's the goal is never to convince them that there is no God or that, their faith or spirituality is wrong at all. The biggest problem with faith and spirituality is that religion is taking control of people, right? If God wrote the book, why are you holding the pen?
Mm-hmm.
So to have a conversation, to make people question themselves, I regularly question myself as a person. I look at my system of belief, I look at the things that I hold dear, and whenever I find something that no longer serves me, I leave it behind. Because that's what I want for people. Yeah. I want them to find the things that no longer serve them, leave them behind, and become a better person.
That's why religion doesn't have a place for you. Or me, or many people. You're a better man than me, because when those people come up to me, and I'm like, all right, if we're going to do this, and then I use their own gospel against them, and they get really mad, and they just tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and I go, okay.
I'm assuming that might happen statistically eventually, but I'll even talk to the people standing there with a microphone on the street yelling at me.
Okay, well, if the people are good intention and are at least kind and courteous, I will meet them where they're at.
Yeah,
but when the people start saying very ignorant things, I start letting them know how they are as far from Christ as possible. And it is hilarious that even though you and I were raised on the whole Revelations, Judgment Day, all that stuff.
That's the most important part of the Bible. I don't know if you know that. What you need to do because the world's ending is more important than loving your neighbors in a lot of these scenarios.
By the way, they have no idea what Revelations is, the history of why it was written. It wasn't a prophecy of something 2,000 years down the road. They were writing it to the 7 churches, and it was very much what was happening in ancient Rome. But history repeats itself. In the most ironic play of all time, we basically have somebody who I don't think is the Antichrist, but could not be more antithetical of Christ and his messaging, and that is their savior.
You know what? I've actually thought that multiple times myself, is that the irony behind that and the hats, Mark of the Beast on your forehead,
Exactly.
the MAGA hats. There are so many connections that are just so in your face that it kind of boggles my mind that more people don't notice it.
Yeah. Well, then I think that means Nancy Mace is the whore of Babylon. Okay, we're going to do another one. We only got 2 more. Which one do you want to do?
5.
5. Perfect. Perfect timing. This one is the only non-Ohio one. It is just called Dump Trump. And it's and we had to get it. There's a poop emoji with the Trump hairdo on it, and it's perfect. Let's see if it's any good. If it's just Frank's Red Hot with a Trump
Honestly,
sticker
it smells
on
a
it.
little like Frank's. No, I was wrong. Yeah, it does. Okay.
That's by far the most mild.
Yeah, getting a little more sour. Not bad, though. A little more vinegary, I guess.
Yeah. You eat enough of it, you might start looking like Trump. Turn you orange.
Are there carrots in there?
I don't know. What I'm really going to love is when I go to edit this and there's like a piece of onion that's been in my teeth through the whole episode.
I'd tell you, man.
Okay, appreciate you. Okay, so here's my hot take. The good guys are short-sighted too. We're tumbling at light speed towards this midterm election. And everyone's like, we're going to turn all these seats blue. Okay, then what? If there is a laundry list of things to do, that's just step one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's capture the flag. It's the tribalism of the blue team has the flag now, and then the red team will come get it. Like, how do we stop this from being a bad ping pong game of which party gets to win this time?
Remove money from politics. That should be goal 1. We need to end Citizens United speech now. Overturn those court cases in a meaningful way so that the very wealthy can stop purchasing our politicians and literally owning America.
How much of a majority would the Democrats need to have in Congress to be able to pack the court and or put on term limits for Supreme Court? Because, I mean, that's the end-all, be-all, and as of now, we're screwed.
Sure. Too many. But I think that, I was going to say hot take, but I'm not sure this is. Trump is a person who will do something he thinks will make him look good, regardless of who it serves.
This is true.
So if we were able to get into the office with him and convince him that he could be the president who is remembered forever as getting rid of Citizens United, getting money out of politics, he might sign the bill.
Look, I don't think he's a very smart man.
I agree.
I do think he understands he like money. Money make him happy. Money me, please.
But like a lot of people nowadays, he's going to say, fuck you, I got mine, and doesn't care what comes next.
You're not wrong. Do you think he's all there, though?
No.
So you just need to catch him at the right time.
Right.
Like anybody.
Just before sundown.
Sundowners is, exactly what's going on. How do we change minds and hearts? How do we make this happen?
By actually being a politician that serves people and getting enough politicians in these seats that we can show people what a good functional government looks like. I think that the problem is that a lot of Americans see the government as some intrusive, separate entity from their lives. But the reality is that the government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's supposed to be made up of people like you and me, and Carl down the street. But it's been taken over by very wealthy people. Yeah. It's been taken over by people who are just willing to say yes no matter what.
And everyone talks about the government as though it is this separate entity because it has been.
And it should not be.
And the people who speak out like the way you're speaking is you will hopefully be elected and you will instantly be called radical. I can't wait to see you on Fox News. I can't wait to see the headline between CNN and Fox News, the difference in it. But it'd be like, this man who's, he's chopped off the head of 50 whales in the Navy, and he is the most radical leftist, and he wants to give transgendered homeless kids all of your money, and it's wild.
It is wild. That is wild. We need to bring back the fairness doctrine. Reagan was one of the worst things that ever happened to this nation, flat out. And I know a lot of people on the right and the conservatives worship him, but the fact is he did a lot of damage. through things like trickle-down economics and removing the fairness doctrine and, create the creation of Fox News and all the ones that people want to label on the left, MSN or whatever it is.
Don't you think we need to do something that is still within the parameters of the First Amendment? Like, I think Fox News, for example, should come with a warning label like a pack of cigarettes. Because in court, it always says, no, we're not news, we're opinion.
Yeah.
You should be labeled as such. You should not even pretend to be allowed to do it.
Yeah, because they're called Fox News.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disinformation is not protected under the First Amendment, and your opinion is fine. But they are so good at being deceitful and getting people to think that that is fact.
Yeah. In the military, when you join, you do lose some rights. You can't speak poorly of the government. There are certain things that you have to do or you cannot do under the UCMJ. I'm perfectly comfortable as a person running for office who may sit in one of these seats one day giving up some of my rights again because I don't believe that anyone in these seats should ever be able to spread misinformation or disinformation. We as elected officials should not be able to lie to the citizens of this country.
Yeah.
And if we could, if these politicians do go on Fox News, they can't lie. And that would put a big damper on a lot of that shit.
At worst, they're looking at civil cases right now.
Yeah.
And thank God for the courts. They've been the last bastion of like true constitutional law and equality.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. But even Trump-appointed judges have been knocking down
I do love it.
ridiculous things. Yeah. I mean, it's because they're professionals.
Yeah. Well, here in Ohio now we have political party on our Supreme Court and a couple of them down below that.
That is so ridiculous.
Do you know why they stopped, where they stopped going down the judge list? It's because some major cities have Republican judges, and those Republican judges didn't want people to know they were Republican. Otherwise, they would lose their seats. So they stopped putting that label after a certain point as you go down the list. And they did it to serve the people who are in those seats as Republicans.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, everything that Ohio politics does for the most part is to serve the Republican Party because they've had a stranglehold on us. On the campaign trail, have you budged anybody?
I'd like to think I have. It's tough to tell. Sometimes in everyone's lives, you have that moment where you feel like you're just yelling into the void and doing nothing.
Yeah.
But, I had a conversation with someone the other day about abortion, actually, in Powell, at Powell Fest. And we were talking about that, and he asked me if I was pro-choice or pro-life, and I said that I'm pro-choice. I think that, people should have bodily autonomy. Like, it's not my job to tell you what to do with yourself. And he said that he was pro-life, and I said, if you really want to stop abortions, what we need to do is not ban abortion. We need to build a world where people aren't afraid to have kids.
Yeah.
We need to give people medical care and child care and a living wage so that when you find out you're pregnant, you're not fucking terrified.
And sexual education. You want to talk about the Reagan era.
Stop.
The abstinence was taught in schools and taught everywhere else. And it has been proven time after time does not work.
Nope.
It actually leads to more unprotected sex, more unwanted pregnancies, more poverty.
It was like DARE. It just led to more drug use.
Yeah. And the biggest stoners all wear the DARE shirts, which is what's hilarious. All right. Last one here. Number 2 is another black cap out of Columbus. This one is just honey. So I'm assuming this one is going to be more mild.
It smells sweet. Were any of these hot so far?
A couple of them had some heat. Were any of them too hot? Not even close. I'm sorry that it wasn't enough.
I'm not, you know what? I'm not sure you could have found one. Wolf. I'm up for the challenge. I was eating Chinese food once, and you know how they sometimes have those dried chili peppers in there?
Mm-hmm.
I took a bite of one, and I was like, oh, there's actually a little kick to this. So I was like, Jess, there's actually a little spice to this thing, which should have been the first warning not to eat it. She ate it and literally cried. It was so hot.
I don't think I'm as strong as you, but I certainly have a high tolerance, I think, for hot food. And it's so funny because somebody would be like, I don't like hot, and I'll try something. I'm like, oh, this is easy. And they're like freaking out over it. I'm oh, I guess I forgot.
I often make fun of my mother for thinking mayonnaise is spicy.
Man, you know you're from Appalachia when mayonnaise is your spice. Call that white people salsa.
This is better than I thought it was going to be.
It's really good.
It's not nearly as sweet as I was worried because I don't really like super sweet stuff.
Yeah. No, it's a good blend.
Mm-hmm. But not spicy at all.
No, it would be spicy to somebody who doesn't like heat.
Like I didn't even detect any spice in that at all.
All right, take that feedback. What are your other talking points? What else that we haven't covered really matters to you, especially going into what will hopefully be your first term?
I mean, largely, it all comes down to people over everything. People over profits, people over party, people over politics. If it helps people, I want to do it. And I think that we can do all of the things that we need to do responsibly, financially responsibly. I just want to be good to people. I just want to do good things for people. That's my whole reason for all of this. I live in the world. I want it to be good.
What do you see for the future of education in Ohio? What do you want to see done?
I want to see it funded equitably. Right now, I don't know if you know, but the Supreme Court has found that Ohio's public education funding is unconstitutional several times through the years, the first time being 1997. And the legislature has done very little to nothing about it, which means that public schools in poorer areas where the property value is not as high, they're not going to get funded as well, and you're automatically going to get a less good education because your teachers are going to be paid less, your school building's going to be falling apart. And that is a reflection of the inner city regions and in the rural areas of Ohio because farm fields aren't worth a whole lot.
Right.
I think that we need to push legislators to fund our education system so that your success in the future isn't dictated by your zip code.
Hot take on gun violence.
It's a serious problem. I was in high school when Columbine happened. It was my freshman year of high school, and that was the first big national.
Yeah. 99, I remember.
Yeah. I actually went, and that year I was going to school with a girl who knew those guys, who lived there before she moved there. But gun violence is a huge problem. I think that, I'm a 2A supporter. I'm cool with guns. I don't have a problem with them at all in general.
But I love that because they try to make a cookie cutter mold out of most people and go, oh, Democrats hate guns. They want to take your guns away. I'm like, I'm pretty, like I bleed pretty liberal, pretty blue. I own guns. Yeah. I don't want somebody having a bazooka.
Yeah.
And like we took away the background checks and all the red tape and everyone's like, well, the Second Amendment, it's like, yeah, but to get the driver's license, you still have to do things. You still have to jump through some hoops and pass some tests. This is like free, wide open now.
Yeah, I'm for universal background checks. I think that there should not be loopholes where you can just go to a flea market and purchase one if you have felonies and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm generally cool with guns. I think that probably the biggest thing that we need as a nation is a living wage and health care that includes mental health care. And I imagine that with those two things alone, we're going to see a massive drop in gun violence because poverty breeds violence. And a lot of the people who are experiencing these violent things are in more poor areas.
Yeah. You said you didn't think any of these were hot, so we're going to bring out one last one.
Hey, all right.
Now,
I have a pierogi left, too.
Perfect. This is called Crybaby 6. I still have a bad feeling. Now, look, when I poured these, I smelled it, and it burned my nose hairs. So I really hope it lives up to its name.
We're secure in our manhoods. It's fine.
That's right.
It's fine. There's emergency milk.
It is 6 million on the Scoville scale.
Okay.
Which is like, I don't know. How much is a jalapeno pepper? Is 1,500.
Okay.
And this is 6 million.
Okay. We might have regrets.
That's why we saved it for the end. Originally, this was going to be in the mix, and I said, if we eat this early on, the rest of the episode might not happen.
If I would have chosen 7 at random.
God, I'm so...
We're going to start with one bite.
Smell it?
It smells like it might be spicy. I'll be honest with you.
Let's
do this at the same time, yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers. I don't like the taste of that. Is it hot?
It hit the back of my throat. So it doesn't have an immediate heat.
Yeah.
See, okay. I don't want to talk shit about, that was 100 times higher than the rest of these. I don't want to talk shit about the company, but this is one of those, for people where the heat is more important than the taste or the flavor.
Yeah.
Because like, oh yeah, like.
I've been dipping the rest of the pierogies in the ones that I've been eating before, but actually I so disliked the flavor that I'm not going to dip another one in there.
Okay, so I'll play by the rules. And I was, when I did my first communion, I was a family of 5. We didn't have a lot of money. We weren't poor, but my mom, they would always buy you shoes like 5 sizes too big, so you can grow into them. So I was doing my first communion when we were Catholic. And I remember I was like, don't trip. And right after I did the communion, I go down the steps. My oldest sister is looking at me. I look at her and I trip and she's like, ha ha. And she sounded just like
Nelson
from The Simpsons.
Love it.
Like, ha ha. Woo. Okay. You're talking the rest of the time. Fuck. Like, the instant heat isn't bad. It's not that the heat is bad. It's like, it won't stop. Oh, my God. Okay.
I do feel it a little bit on the back of my tongue.
You're killing me.
It's making me sweat a little bit.
Fuck, man.
Do you need my emergency milk?
No. Why am I seeing Lindsey Graham over there?
Too soon.
All right, get ready to do a lot of talking. What does the current polling look like? Do you know?
No. That's one of the problems with running in a district that's hard to win is nobody helps. So there's no outside money coming in. There's no DNC. There's no DCCC. There's no real state effort, which I think applies to one of the things that I said earlier, that one of the things that Democrats need to do is stop being such cowards. I think that there's honor in a fight. And I think that the longer we let things go, the worse they're going to get.
Oh, my God. I'm going to do the rest of this interview laying in a bathtub full of milk. How do you like your odds?
I have no idea. I know that nobody's going to hand it to me. I know that we have work to do, and the work is worth doing. I know that I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we win. It's a difficult district. It was designed to be that way. But, the people who have to try harder, they're going to work harder, right? If you're a person doing the thing worth a damn. But, I genuinely don't have an answer to that other than just work.
So when is the election? What would you like Ohioans to know about the election?
The election is November 3rd. Later this year. It's on a Tuesday. Should be easier to vote. Ohio and the Republicans are doing everything they can to make sure that you don't or you can't, especially if you don't agree with their politics and policies. That's the reason that they gerrymander. It's the reason they're trying to pass the bullshit Ohio Save Act, because they want people to not be able to vote, or they want to make it harder so that they can keep winning because they're losers. What I want people to know is that they should get out and vote, because the party that wants you to not vote is in power.
I'm trying to figure out a way if I can gargle milk and talk to you at the same time. And
like a ventriloquist.
And it's not like it's so hot that it's like unbearable. It's just uncomfortable to be doing a podcast. So I'm really, really glad we saved this one for last. What an idiot. Who came up with this idea?
I'll make you feel better. I'll dab my head too.
No, you get the more of the physical. Like I've seen your eyes water. I've seen you sweat.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, like I taste that one was hot. Like I'm not going to bullshit you. I felt that
no.
one.
If you said it wasn't, I was going to be like, you need to go see a doctor.
Yeah, that one was hot, but like it's pretty much gone.
You're like, RFK already told me I was fine.
Yeah, he told me I was fine.
You take the horse dewormer and it makes your tongue not feel heat.
One of the things actually you were saying that reminded me of, I was thinking to myself, if I had an Oura ring on right now, it could tell me if my heart rate increased. And it made me think about my opponent, Troy, is trying to deregulate wearable health technology.
What?
Yeah, they want to deregulate it so that it doesn't have to go through FDA trials to make sure that it's accurate and correct, right? And a lot of people are going to start basing whether or not they need to go to the doctor on the results of these things. Some of them will tell you, they're saying that they can tell you if you're pre-diabetic or if you're having a heart attack or if you're having some sort of issue over the long term. But if we don't have FDA regulations on this, it can just tell you anything. And people are going to make life-changing decisions based on this.
And it's just going to track you like everything else.
In fact, yeah, and ultimately in my mind, and not to get too conspiracy level here, but I think that the end result is going to be that insurance companies are going to have access to this data. And they're going to deny people coverage based off whether or not they seem unhealthy from their wearable technology. And because insurance companies only exist to make a profit. So they make money when you're on their plan and you die. Not if they have to pay out.
And if you want to talk about the history of that, we already talked about Reagan. That was a Nixon era thing where all of that took off.
Non-profit to for-profit.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I maybe have drank milk, other than maybe in cereal, and even then it's like oat milk. I can't remember the last time I drank milk.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm talking to 3U right now, so I have no idea.
I'm a little dizzy. I'm a little scared.
What would you like to cover that we haven't covered?
I think that we as a nation are capable of doing great things. I think that there is a reality in which America does build on the generations that came before us, and that we can again be a free and, dare I say, honorable society that takes care of its citizens in a meaningful way. I have full faith in the American people that they want better and they're capable of better. And it's our responsibility as citizens in this nation to make the government do better, because we are the government.
Well, if I wasn't going to die later tonight, I would definitely make sure to show up and vote for you.
I appreciate that.
Where can people find out more about you and your campaign?
You can go to christianforohio.com. That is FOR, not the number 4. All my social media links are there. I'm on most of the things. Try to be an interesting follow, because, you know, you don't get the attention you need if you're not a person out there doing the right thing.
And I'll say the way that you've talked here, sans hot sauce and all this craziness, is very much the person who I see on social media out there in public.
Yeah.
I wish we had some decency and a little more professionalism in our politics.
Yeah.
But I also don't want a suit. I want somebody who doesn't have to look like me, but seems like somebody I would grab a beer with, you know?
Yeah.
And you see very few of those folks.
Yeah. I've met a lot of politicians since I've been doing this, and the vast majority of them are exactly what you would expect. There are some really good people running right now that I have met along the way, so I don't want to blanket statement that. I mean, like you mentioned Amy earlier, she's genuinely a good person. She's doing it because she cares about people in the world, and she has just been tossed into this thing like anybody else.
Yeah.
Don Leonard, have you talked to him ever? Running
no,
in
but
15.
I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, really good dude. I think he's a college professor, which doesn't make him sound cool, but he is pretty cool.
I don't know. It depends. Indiana Jones was a college professor.
That's true. I rescind.
So for the final question, I always like to ask something just completely random. And this one, you know, it still ties into what we did today. If you could eat only one food the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm torn between pizza and sushi.
Hell yeah. You got to pick one, though.
Man. Probably, God, I'm going to regret saying sushi, but sushi?
Okay.
Pizza, it feels so like it would be really heavy sometimes. So if that's all you could eat, you might regret that. But sushi, you can make it super light.
You know what? Even though my answer would always be pizza or pasta, I can respect that. What's great about both of those choices, though, is they're both versatile.
Yeah, that's why I pick it.
You could have a sushi pizza and you could have a pizza sushi roll. So
yes,
brilliant.
That's exactly right. I'm gonna just take rolls of sushi and put it on bread, and it's stuck together, so it's one nacho.
There you go. Folks, he's not only kind and caring, he's also innovative. And he has a broken tongue or some kind of system, sensory. I don't know. But thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for having this conversation and for being a good sport about this, even though it just feels like you did nothing and I just got punished. But
I warned you.
But you know what? Had it been the other way around and I did harm to a potential future congressperson, I'd feel really bad. So I'm glad it went the way it did.
Yeah.
Check out his website, especially if you are there in his district. Either way, November 3rd in Ohio, go out and vote. Use your voice. Whoever you vote for, use your conscience. Think about it critically. And as he mentioned earlier, and as I say on the show all the time, we are far more similar than we are different. All of us. Well, maybe if you're chopping the head off a whale, you're a little bit different, but the rest of us are all very similar. So don't be afraid to go out there and meet others and be kind to others. And again, you got to use your voice. Can't just complain about how bad things are. Let's fix it, but let's fix it together.
Let's stop having the world happen to us.
Boom. We'll see you next time. We just went there. Now you can go to thegoingtherepodcast.com for links to all the podcast platforms, our socials, and of course, YouTube. While you're at it, give us a rating, share with a friend, and subscribe.
This podcast is brought to you in part by its host and Frame One Media, in association with Joe Calley and Bobby Thomas.